Good morning, everyone. Remember to drink your water today. I want to talk about another subject that's a little taboo. Gets people fired up, but I got to do it. So, there's really no manual on how to be a parent, and we all just kind of learn from our parents, first of all, and then we learn as we go. And that's just how it works. And then our first child, we're really careful. We sanitize their toys. We make sure they don't eat dirt. And we're really careful with them. And then by the second child, we're like, we don't need to sanitize the toys. We know that's fine. And a little dirt's not going to hurt you. Okay? So things drastically change. And it's because we've learned that a little dirt don't hurt. And we learn as we go. So when I was pregnant with Luca, I got him one shot, and I don't even remember which one it was, or maybe it was a couple. It was the first set, and I remember being hesitant about it because hearing some things, and I didn't really want to do it. But the doctor was like, he asked me what I did, and I said I was a bartender. He said, well, imagine that you handle a lot of money, and imagine that you would bring home a disease to your child. And, really scared me into it. And so I was like, okay, go ahead and give him the shots. But then my sister gave me these books written by Jenny McCarthy. Remember Jenny McCarthy? She was on MTV. So if you were around, you know who she is. So she wrote these books with the experience of her own child and the things that happened after he had taken shots. And the link between autism and shots. And, this is a very taboo subject, and people like to argue about it. But I'm just going to tell you some things, okay? Some facts. And everyone is free to make their own decision. So, Mercury, the metal that's in the old thermometers, that's in some batteries, they don't even want you to dispose of it in the ground. The FDA prohibits a certain amount even in our food. Okay? So they preserve all of these shots with mercury. And it's also the metal that they used to put in your teeth for fillings. Well, metal is toxic to our brains. Just a fact. So if you're injecting high amounts of metal into children's babies' developing brains, and they have massive amounts of metal in their brains, there are side effects. There are side effects. So possibly not all autism is from shots, but I would guarantee a lot of it is. Because it's too much metal in a developing child's brain. They give obscene amount of shots, which is unnecessary. Our bodies are made to fight and build up antibodies on our own without being injected with antibodies. We can get a disease or get a illness and develop antibodies on our own. We are fine-tuned machines. We are divine beings. We can overcome anything. Anything. First of all, let's just say that. Anything. So, and she speaks about this in one of these books. Now, it's been a long time since I read these books, so I don't remember which is which. But she speaks about the amount, and she breaks it down, the amount of mercury that is in the shots. And she breaks it down in numbers for you. And I remember specifically it saying that the flu shot alone has over 50,000 parts per million of mercury, which is like 10 times what they will allow in our food, the FDA, the toxic amount in our food, but they're injecting it into people. And the flu shot, don't even get me started on that. They're making a vaccination from the virus from last year, which the flu mutates every year. So they cannot vaccinate you from the flu from this year because it's a different virus than it was last year. But that's a whole nother subject. The whole shot thing is ran by the pharmaceutical companies, which they are just trying to get money. They don't care about your children's brains. They don't care about your children's health. All they want is your fucking money. End of story. And also, another in this book, I believe, it might have been another book, but a doctor who didn't want his child to have shots. His wife went and got the shots for the child. His child immediately became unverbally autistic. And then he knew how to pull the metals from the brain, which is a pretty gruesome process. You have to eat like whole foods and very healthy, I believe. And then the metal has to be pulled out by drinking oils, which sounds pretty horrific. But it can be done. And he was able to pull the metals out of his child's brain and bring him back to being verbal. So this is a subject that lots of people get all upset about and really want to argue about. But I'm just giving you the facts, you know. They preserve the shots with mercury. Mercury is toxic to our brains, and they are injecting it into babies who have developing brains. Many shots unnecessarily. So, read a book about it. Educate yourself, people. Stop listening to your doctor and the healthcare industry. They do not have your best interest at hand. Trust me. They only want our fucking money. They don't give a fuck about anyone. They don't care about helping anyone. They don't care about healing anyone. They don't fucking care. They just want money. Despite the destruction. So please educate yourself and do not listen to the fucking doctors. I have many stories I can tell you. Many stories. And I'm going to. So do your own fucking research. Read these books. Read these books by Jenny McCarthy because they changed my life. Changed my life. And I'm so grateful. All right. We are divine. And I'll see you next time. Bye.